The fusion can be felt, coursing through your veins like an adrenaline rush. Well, how do you like this? It's a video, I tell you. I know it's a video. It's pretty obvious. This is a YouTube video. Possibly. Well, wish there wasn't all this deal with the sunlight. My goodness. Hope you're enjoying this video. Well, I have a camera. It just so happens to be a security camera. Oh, crap. Don't start with me, lag. Oh, gosh, I thought it was gone. Holy freaking crap. The irony. Oh dear. John Deere. This is John Deere reporting for John Deere International. Hi, how are you enjoying this video? Oh, the lag and throttle. Welcome to my video. In this video, we'll be showing a very special digital voltmeter or digital multimeter. As you know, in the digital age we now live in, it's full of high technology, much digitalness, you see. The integrated circuit has greatly influenced things, and the 7-segment display is not to be forgotten. Rarely nowadays do you see a multimeter using an LED-based 7-segment display. Typically now you get a digital voltmeter and that uses LCD. Sometimes you might come across a vintage digital multimeter which uses LED-based 7-segment displays. What if we had a meter that used none of those mentioned technologies for display? What if we had a digital multimeter that used Nixie tubes? Looks so cool when you first start up the camera. Amongst the electronic equipment. Now, why does it look squished? This is the Weston 1240 digital multimeter. It's a very neat meter. You can see the control panel here. You got volts and ohms, DC. Milliamps DC, milliamps AC, and volts AC. Of course I can turn it off. 1000 volt DC, 200 volt DC, 20 volt DC, 2 volt DC, and 200 millivolt DC or 200 microamps. And then ohms 202K, 20K, 200K, and 2 meg and 20 meg ohms. And then over here we see the illustrious, absolutely breathtakingly beautiful Nixie tubes. So you see, it looks like there's only 3 digits. Technically, it's 3 digits and a 1, or 4 digits. We have too many ohms. You see that 1 come on? It's just a tall neon light. So let us make some measurements. One thing I really like is how the entire display technology on here is neon. There's not a single LED, and there's not a single incandescent lamp in this meter. You can see the plus and minus is alternating. Those pluses and minuses are both neon. So, cross the leads together, we should get a stable 0 volts. Keep in mind, this meter is from 1973. And it is American made as well. So, let us get with the outer packaging removed, 9-volt battery. Let's measure its voltage. Let's set it to the 20-volt mode. You can see it reads 8.12 volts. That's still fairly good, but not fresh. That is, fresh spelt with pH. This camera is running off 12-volt DC. Let's measure the power supply voltage coming to it. Keep note the polarity will be backwards. The minus sign is on and it's 12.09 or 11.98 now volts. And the meter on the power supply itself is right now at 12.0 volts. And I went to 11.9 for a second, went back to 12.0. So you can tell this meter is pretty accurate. And this thing's from 1973. And I haven't touched its calibrations at all. Let's get another power supply which goes up to 50 volts and power it on. And we will get a known modern day digital meter, and I'll do a comparison. Here I've got the modern day meter measuring 50 volts coming out of this old Heathkit IP-20 power supply from 1963. Got to make sure we set it to the 200 volt range. Now let's measure both of these voltages. You can see the Nixie tube meter measures 50.3. Trying to get a connection here. Modern day meter, which, wow. Ain't this embarrassing. Excuse me for a second. Let me screw this in more and try that again. Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. Well, this is stupid. Okay, for a second you can see 50.3 in the modern meter. Okay, 50.3 on both meters. So I guess something has changed a little at 50.3 instead of 50. But as you can see, both meters are accurate. Well, assuming the modern meter is accurate, this old 1973 meter is still accurate. The meter may appear greenish in the video, but it's actually a light blue color. And obviously the Nixies are a nice orange neon color. So, I don't know if that thing's correct. It is plugged in. Let's measure the 5 volt regulated coming out of a little digital exerciser deal. You can see it measures something that's not right. I don't know what's going on. I really don't know what's going on. Let's try that again over here. Here we go. 5 volts. Or 4.95 volts. I need to check these wires. Something's not getting good. Oh, it's just the insulation was down where I thought it was exposed. Okay. So yeah. That's pretty amazing. Let's measure some resistors now. with the modern meter, I got a 100k ohm resistor and it measured 96.9 kilo ohms. Now we're going to measure the same resistor using the 1973 Weston 1240. Let's set it to the 200k ohm range. $97 ohms. It keeps fluctuating, so 97 ohms. And what was the resistance when on the other meter again? Because I forgot already. $97 ohms. Actually, it seemed to change a little bit. I think it was 96.9. So as you can see, this meter, according to that right there, is accurate. Of course, to truly measure how accurate it is, I'd probably have to get a whole bunch of values. You know, see if it's accurate on low values as well as high values. Probably the best way would be to do a bunch of measurements over time, take the average, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, as you can see though, this old meter is still good, which I think is absolutely amazing. Let's get a 330 ohm resistor measured on the vintage meter. Oh yeah. It's in 2K mode, so it says 0.357, meaning 0.357 K. Or 357 ohms. Now it's measured on the modern meter. It says 357.5. How awesome is that? Isn't that just delightful? And if we touch the leads together, we get 0 ohms. If we put it on the 200 ohm setting, touch the leads together, we get 0.7 ohms. Now, maybe there's some resistance in the leads, but there's also a 0 adjustment. I haven't touched it yet, but there's a 0 adjustment where you can stick a little screwdriver inside on the front, which I think is freaking fantastic, because this is the first time I've ever seen a 0 adjustment on a digital meter. And believe me, I wish they put it on more digital meters. Because I have an old Radio Shack, Micronta branded digital meter from the early 90s or the late 80s. And I'll put the leads together and it reads like 1 ohm. And it'd be nice if I could simply 0 it. So that's just awesome. The only problem though, the downside, whenever I got this meter, it came in a neat leather case, complete with an old backup battery. But it was missing the power cord. So, and the original leads, these leads go to a different meter. But they're just, I have them now. I have, 2 sets of these. Well, only this set's is fully connected. The other set has a loose connection, but I use these with various meters. But it didn't have the power cord with it. So I had to literally get a couple of alligator clip leads and hook it up the dangerous way, so to speak. I'll show you. First, let's witness turning this thing off. This is a hookup style in which I want to position things carefully and be steady and not move things around a lot. This is a power cord that's not being used for anything at the moment. I simply attach clip leads to the prongs to take in the 120 volts. And on the other side, I simply have them clipped on to where the power cord goes. So this is where the power cord connects. I technically own one power cord of such type that goes with the Revere T3000 reel-to-reel tape recorder. But of course, that power cord has been lost, and I have no idea where it has possibly went. What? I know where the reel is, the power cord itself, though I lost. I don't know where the heck it is, and I probably won't find it again for who knows how long. Years, probably. So this is then, of course, where I ask the question, if any of you guys out there watching this video has this style power cord lying around and doesn't need it, there's an extra power cord, I would not mind getting another one. If possible, 2 of them, because also I have the little Voice of Music 760 portable reel-to-reel tape recorder also uses this type of power cord for charging. So I've charged it at times using this method that I showed here. Okay, speaking of other things, this meter, this is where the battery pack hooks up. I do have the battery pack, but the lead acid battery is no longer going to be any good. And it's an international voltage unit, 115 or 230 volts. Unfortunately, one of the circuit boards has apparently been removed. You can see here it says BCD output, or binary coded decibel output, and the board has been removed. Assuming this model would have had that board in it. It could have just been there for a different model using the same case. I'm not sure. And obviously it's been calibrated at some point. But it's very nice that they have the calibrations right there in convenient ohms, plus volt, minus volt, and then the 20 mega ohm resistance. The fact that they have the calibrations right there, I think, is awesome. I wish they made all meters that easy to calibrate. I didn't have to touch it; it already was calibrated. And there's a curious thing on the side. This was glued onto the side. Apparently, the tag off of a teletype machine. What that's doing on the meter, who knows? And look at the serial number that teletype was, 9. It's a shame I don't have the unit itself. It just happened to be pasted onto this meter. The serial number of the meter itself is K2010. Here's the meter with its stand on it, which can be unscrewed and removed. And here's the case that it was in. Rather long case. Undo this latch. We'll see. Pretty nice looking felt. The original battery pack, which contains a 12-volt lead-acid battery. And one interesting thing to note from that is that the Nixie tubes have to have about, I would imagine at least 70 volts to be able to light up, because they're technically they're neon lights. Which means the meter will have to contain a DC-DC converter to step the voltage up from 12 volts to some high voltage DC to run the Nixies. The meter itself goes into the case like that, and it would all close up together. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video of this vintage 1973 digital multimeter. My goodness, is this one cool digital multimeter. This is the cassette master, age 24, May 23rd, 2015. I hope you enjoyed this presentation of the vintage Weston 1240 multimeter. That's right. It will make measurements for you.